My light bulb moment for this new fleet management future was the moment that I had successfully added all of my configurations and my services. It worked. It predicted everything I needed it to. It showed me all the parts that I wanted to. It showed me all the oils and lubricants that I needed. And it showed me a date that I could do it by. OEM is our standard servicing schedule that the manufacturers put out. So that is put out in their service book, and that gives their minimum requirements. We elaborate on that and expand on it, and we put in extra stuff that we do that the ordinary contractor or manufacturer would not do. So if we have additional items added to that machine, for example, a parks truck.
Yep.
When you take it to the Hino dealer, they would just do a standard service on the Hino truck itself, the truck body and chassis. They're not worried about any of the extra components. We've got a tipper body on there that has got X amount of toolboxes. It's got under tray toolboxes. It's got wheel nut indicators. We do smoke machine testing. We do scan tool testing on it. So we do all those extra components as well. So we've linked the program to set up as the OEM or the manufacturer's requirement, and then what we have deemed a BRC general. So all the general stuff that we do, that is like the icing on the cake, that's the gloss. No, we do it because we want to make sure that when we send that asset to auction, that all components are fully operational and fully in good condition. We don't want to get to a point of its life where we're going to have to replace an entire water tank because we didn't pay attention to it. We were only looking at the truck. We want to inspect all of those components, every component, even though it may be time consuming, to make sure that we don't have major failures and major breakdowns. And again, this drives the scheduling and the preventative maintenance. You do all of this together, you don't have lengthy delays in that truck being off the road. There's different grades of your servicing that you can get. Not all suppliers do it, but you can actually choose if it's severe, very severe, or under extreme conditions. And we service accordingly. So if we've got a Mack Prime Mover that is predominantly going out to unsealed sites on a dusty, dirty road and picking up heavy plant all the time, we're going to service that in its most severe condition, because you're going to be doing your air filters and your cabin filters a lot more frequently than a truck that's just driving up and down the highway. Yeah, we do need to take that extra care because we have such a diverse environment that we work in. We want to make sure that we're servicing at that most extreme circumstance for those machines to prevent that failure in the future. You know, you've got equipment that's working in dusty environment that should be replacing all its filters when required. So by upkeeping that higher standard for servicing and in making sure that we take into consideration all of those environmental factors that machine or that asset is working in, we're probably going to get a better return at the end of it. When it comes to its end of its life and we send it to auction. It's better standard. Everyone knows that we've got a very good rapport with our servicing. We've got a good service history. We've got a full service history. So we deal with each asset individually to make sure that we have a customised service schedule, to make sure that we service the machine in the environment that it's working in, and to ensure that it has a full and extensive service history for better resale at the end of it. So we're making sure that all those machines are at the peak of their condition. So by doing all of that servicing and maintaining in the forefront of it, we are reducing our overall costs. We're looking at having a better asset, and then when it comes to that disposal date, we are getting a better income and return, which is reducing our overall budget for the whole of council.
Better?
Yeah, by maintaining our vehicles at a better standard, we are reducing the overall cost of that machine for its whole of life. And then when it comes to the disposal and auction or the sale of that asset, we're getting a better return on our assets. Yeah, well, he challenged us to think outside the box. That was the biggest thing. Think outside the box. Don't look at it as in, this is the way you've always done it. Think outside the box. Think of how you would like things to be done or that could be done. So, and put your input in that way. So draw your ideas from out of here. It's living in a different realm now. And I've gone from working from a system to printing things out to putting it onto a calendar, a diary, then uploading it in a calendar, then in a system, to being able to do it all in one. So instead of using, multi-factors, I'm using one, which is pretty amazing actually. Andrew basically asked us to stop thinking in a tight little box in the way that we always do, and think outside. You know, think of different components and different ways we can improve and add to a system. Instead of using multi-factors, we're just using one. So, and that's very innovative in itself. You're not wasting your money on resources like stationery and then, additional items and then additional time. You're condensing it all down into one isolated area that is got a minefield of information. It is exceptionally different. It takes a little bit of thinking from outside the box.
Right.
That's what I did when I first got shown, is I actually went and looked at it from a different perspective. Instead of getting stuck in the way we've always done it, you have to be open to the change. And I just went, okay, let's go like I've never worked on this before. And go, oh, okay, that's got this. What about this? I really need this. And it is, yeah, you can customise and you can build on it and elaborate on it and make it something that's a little bit specialised, I guess.
Yes.
Which is amazing. Most places just have like a platform that goes, bang, here it is, this is what you've got. Trying to access the data in our old system is very cumbersome. You have to go in and find an asset number, then go through separate tabs. And they take quite a while to load. That's where all the information is. So if I'm working or the staff are working in our work ticket area, you would actually have to go to the truck and find a lot of things. If you didn't have the files in a filing cabinet with all your service history and your warranty documents, you would actually have to go to that truck and get that truck in, find out what the VIN is, get the service book out and find out what the service intervals are, find out when your warranty runs out for your engine and your transmission and any other components that you've got on there. It was a very paper-based environment. It's not easily accessible. I would want to know the information, for example, on a crane when we're coming up to a 10-year rebuild or 10-year recertification, they call it. So if I don't have that piece of paper with me, if I don't have it anywhere, how am I going to find out? I have to get the truck in. I need to book it for its service, its annual service. I also need to know what that cut-off point is to feed it back to our procurement team for sale of that machine.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that is, we are jumping about a lot.
No, that's fine.
But that's really.
It puts it in context.
Yeah. And I mean, we can all talk in kind of jargon and out there. It's like sometimes you've got to say.
Just need a very specific.
What is fleet management? Why is scheduling important? We've answered that question.
Yeah.
I'll have one more prompt. We're really close. Thank you so much.
No, that's okay.
So
No
much
problems.
time.
No problems. Andrew said make myself available anytime, so it's no issue at all.
He's your boss, is
He's
he?
my boss.
Oh, is he? Well, he's a good boss to have. Now, what are we up to there? Okay, we're halfway.
No,
through.
happy to help out.
All right.
Because in the long run, it helps me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I asked you before about the adaptations or changes that you wanted to make. To
Yes.
the software. So and that was us, as I was saying, this is what Mark kind of has invented, if you like.
Yes.
Is this idea that anyone can come in at the last minute
Yes.
and make a change.
Yep.
Without bringing the house down like a house of cards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you can make it small. So what was that actual change? Be boring, be specific.
Adding extra fields into a
Right.
report. The field is to find out how many parts I need for a service. Yes, I wanted to know exactly what I needed for a service. I needed to know what oil filter I needed, what the part number was, how much. I made the suggestion for our service report that I needed to know exactly what filter I would need for a 6,000 hour on a grader, a Cat 12M grader. I needed to know what the engine oil filter number was. I needed to know the quantity of engine oil that I needed and everything else that goes with it. What drives me? Providing a service to the staff and to the customers of our area. I actually like seeing things work. It gives me great pride going out and knowing that, that garbage truck that's been passed out, my kids are going, oh, look at the truck. I go, yeah, we serviced that on Friday. Seeing things done in time and making sure that we're not having, constant breakdowns. For the very foreseeable future is to have all of my PM programs set up in the new software by the 17th of May. My personal mission is to have all of our preventative maintenance programs fully established and linked and configured in the new software by the 17th of May, so that it's done in time for my birthday. My personal goal is to have all of our preventative maintenance programs in and configured and ready to roll out by the 17th of May. Yes, we have. We Set up about 2 years ago. We had notification from our ELT,
What the
so
hell?
executive leadership team, that they would like to introduce our core values to all of our areas.
So tell me more about values.
So we've got a set of core values for council that have been written in, and the Infrastructure Services Department decided that we would like to make them a little bit more relevant to our area. So instead of them just being a whole heap of words on a board that no one looked at, we wanted them to be popping out at people and going, hey, this is what I'm about. This represents us. So we developed a group and we designed our own projects around that and our own posters, and we delivered it to all the different areas. It is very important because we'd like to have people come through and know that where they're getting serviced at and the level that they see and the cleanliness is what they're going to get back from us. So yeah, and we do take pride and we do try and work towards our core values as well too, and uphold those within the whole of the workshop. So it's introduced a lot of culture change. Instead of the old school mentality, the old way of thinking, we've always done it. No, we don't want that anymore. We want to move towards, let's embrace a bit of change, a bit of innovation, a bit of sustainability in our workplace, and still keep all of our safety mechanisms in place as well too. I believe that with the new software we will be able to. We're looking at moving towards a more productive way of predicting what's required to be serviced. So instead of lumping council with a massive bill and saying this is what needs to be done, we're working on a 10-year plan that we can progressively roll things out and not impede council's budget as much. For me, it means that we are going away from a very, I'll use the word clunky system. That's not very user-friendly. That's not mobile. We're looking at stuff that, you can take photos and upload them at the drop of a hat while you're out on a machine. Yeah. You're able to find the history of it at the drop of a hat. It's like having your bank in your hand, basically. So instead of having your banking system, we had to go in and take your checkbook in and find out what your balance was and write a little check slip out to get cash out. You're going to a very mobile system where, we're a bit more forward thinking.
Yeah.
So I came on board last year. I was given a demonstration of what the software was going to be looking like, and Andrew asked me to have a look at the preventative maintenance side of it and basically asked for my honest opinion, what works, doesn't work, what doesn't work. So I provided a lot of feedback and
You made?
yes, so I was able to suggest that the reporting functionality that we had, the reports they didn't meet the standards that I needed. They didn't have the information that I wanted.
Yeah. What sort of information do you want?
So we want to know the date that they're predicted by, like when a service is due, what type of services are due, what parts are required. I need to know parts and oil quantities and oil capacity. So while we can link them in the program, that's fantastic, but I need to know when that service comes up, what do I need to order? It is important because we run on a parts contractor. So we supply our requirements to a parts supplier and they provide it. We don't have parts held in store on our stock shelves. So we actually need to send a list of what is required out to our suppliers, and then they provide it to us in service boxes or service kits, and then we can go from there. Our service kits are basically all of the parts that are required for a particular service on a particular day. So I run my program, I schedule in, I order my parts accordingly and send that to parts contractors, and they actually box them up and put them in a kit for us with a label on the front of what the asset ID is, what the job number is, or work ticket or work request, and the date of that service. So that the guys can actually go in, grab the kit, and it's got everything they need. So we have a almost $1 million piece of equipment, which is our Tana compactor, quite a large and very industrial sized waste compactor, which lives out on our waste facility. And upon routine servicing recently, it was noted that it needed a fair bit of extra work done to it. So we had previously overhauled the engine on it about 3 years ago. So that gives a great experience for our staff as well. It's not something that we get to do every day. So the Tana is currently in our depot for undergoing some major repairs, which is not just mechanical, but involves third-party contractors as well too. So there's a lot of involvement in it, and our preventative maintenance program being right on the forefront of that and servicing it when we need to. If we can pick up these repairs early enough, it won't be such an exhaustive enterprise at the end of it. It'll be a little bit more productive.
And how much does it
The next lot of repairs are probably about the $20,000 to $25,000 mark. So roughly estimated, that's just with parts and the initial labour. It could probably go to be a little bit more. We should improve the lifespan by a couple of years. So with the engine overhaul as well, I'd say probably another 3 to 6 years before we need to do another engine overhaul.
Okay.
So by continuing on with that improved maintenance program and servicing and scheduling where we need to, and carrying out all our required oil sampling as well to see where our levels are and prevent any major failure, we're actually extending the life and improving the life of that machine. So instead of having a predicted life of approximately 20 years, because we could keep that for another 10 years, so in additional have it 30 years in council. And some may say, well, that comes at a cost. Yes, it does, but for that machine to be stood down and then have a massive bill associated with it with all those repairs, I think the cost of servicing would far outweigh that. Not only do with the servicing of this equipment, we've done recently the engine overhaul. Now this is such an essential key item for our students going through TAFE, so our apprentices. So not only are we doing just the standard servicing and some of the associated repairs, we're also upskilling and providing vital information and knowledge for the kids of the future.
Things about Thunderbirds.
We cover such a large area, which covers a lot of diverse terrain. So we're dealing with a lot of coastal environments as well. So we've got a lot of salt intake to our assets, and a lot of parks that we need to maintain and upkeep. So obviously our equipment's out in the public eye a fair bit. Then we go inland to the hinterland region where you're, very remote access, very dusty roads, a lot of heavy plant like yellow plant equipment, earth moving equipment like heavy haul out trucks, that kind of component. So we're going from one extreme to the other. Yeah. So what we do here at Fleet is, because we provide we're essentially providing the tools to the staff to do what they need to do. So we're providing them with fit for purpose equipment, trucks and whippersnippers and mowers and tractors and slashers and light vehicles to get out and do the job that they need to do. So this helps them to enhance better garbage collection, which is always a key for our residents and a big environmental factor. We're looking after our waste facilities to make sure that we hit all those environmental factors and targets. We've got parks and open spaces for all of our residents to use and access. So we provide assets that are fit for purpose and sometimes custom built to enable people to give the tools and equipment that they need to actually get their job done. So providing waste collection, environmental factors are covered, open parks and spaces. Yeah. The shift in doing stuff a lot faster and having things more accessible. It has changed in the fact that we need our software to be more mobile and more accessible to all of our staff. So instead of having to wait for a computer at the end of the day or within a break to get everything done, we want stuff that's available to be at the tip of your fingers, basically. If we've got a breakdown on a machine that we're servicing actually out in the field, with the new software that we've got, instead of having just paper-based records to do that servicing, we can actually to go onto our software and go, yep, well, here's the history of it, here's our warranty details, here's when the engine warranty goes out, here's when the transmission goes out, here's all the previous faults that link to that, and have it readily available. Yes, I am. Yeah, so I look after all of Council's fleet assets. So we've got about 1,450 assets across the whole of Council, ranging from minor plant items up to heavy plant and equipment and garbage trucks. So yeah, I do all of it. So from woe to go of the servicing, I get the schedule running, I book them in on days, I order all the parts for it, and then I let the guys know what preventative maintenance, scheduled maintenance, and unscheduled maintenance, which is any major breakdown that we are unexpected.
Which is the best type of maintenance?
Oh, preventative, most definitely, all the way.
Okay.
Anyone who knows preventative maintenance or adheres to that know that if you look after your machine or anything and service it accordingly and in the required time frame, then you're going to not have as many breakdowns and you're going to improve the longevity of that asset.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ngaire.
Hi, my name is Ngaire. I work for Bundaberg Regional Council. I've been here for 15 years now. A maintenance planner for the past 3.5 years.